Hello, everyone. This is Michaela from Joy Inc., and you're listening to the End All the Things podcast. As a life coach and facilitator, I work with individuals and groups to empower their best selves to shine to the betterment of all involved. My goal is always to bring you closer to trusting the voice inside of you that is authentically yours. My job here is no different. In my journey through life, I continue to meet people who use their authenticity, their gifts, to grow, change, and serve through professional and personal endeavors. These people and their stories become my gift to you, for I cannot keep a good thing to myself, and I believe that they may inspire a part of your story to evolve. Today I'm excited to share a special bonus with you. It is the live Joy of Tarot. Join me for a joyful discussion with the incredible Lisa Tancredi of the Feel Better Group. These conversations are filled with insights, honesty, mentorship, friendship, the joy of tarot, and of course, all the things. So join me and Lisa as we share this journey to grow, change, and serve. Don't forget to follow us at My Joy Coach and at the Feel Better Group, and check out the rest of our episodes and bonuses on And All the Things found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Please enjoy the show. Welcome to the live Joy of Tarot. Lisa, how are you today?
Awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I've been very busy this summer. It's been a really magical, wonderful, adventureful, weddingful summer. And the majority of it is kind of done. What I have left is just pacing out. And I feel really grounded and grateful for that.
That's nice. So how many weddings altogether did you do?
4.
4?
I just attended. I did not have to. I wasn't the officiant or the planner. I was just an attendee, but there were 4 from Tennessee to North Carolina to Pennsylvania and then to New Hampshire.
Oh my goodness. So you didn't really actually, in one sense, need a vacation. You could have just kept adding days on around and gone to 4 fabulous places.
Essentially, that's what we did. We were like, hello, Anna Jo, how are you? We just decided, since we're going all these wonderful places, let's do some exploring and kind of let that drive our vacation mindset for the summer. So as with all things, you take what you have and you make the most of it when you're clear on what the goal is. And for us this summer, and hopefully all summers to come, was just spending time with our kids and sharing this beautiful world with them.
Yeah. Awesome.
So I feel good and grounded. What about you? How are you? I know you've not been feeling great.
Yeah. It was a little bit of a bumpy course there for a moment. That's so I had COVID, was it 3 weeks ago or 3.5 or something like that, and it lasted a long time, and then I was just so tired, so tired. You know how they say that it's just, so
I know it.
It took a while.
Well,
yeah. Oh my God. It took me a while to cycle back into it. Have you had COVID before yourself? Yeah.
Yep. And it's more than once. I've had it twice, and really, the mental fatigue is just such a strong thing. And to go back to the conversation we keep having, part of my driver to connect with you was to deal with my own fatigue and just to figure it out. And it was easy for me to just be like, oh, it must be COVID fatigue, right? But then I just couldn't sit with that long term. So, it's a real thing. And I'm not trying to minimize anyone that's dealing with long haulers or whatever it might be. But for me, I had to just get back up. But I also had to learn to sit still, to take that time and to not challenge all of my mental energies when it just wasn't going to happen. But I had to know when to stop, to shift it back into engagement time.
Yeah. Oh, well, I know what you mean. There's a part of me that's I'm pretty happy, not going back to all that I was doing. To be honest with you, I wrote you that list of things that, opportunities that I had in general and from COVID, the things that I was really noticing that I slow down and take the time to do it. Not in the week that I was really sick. When the week I was really sick, I was just, can I please get through this? But then after
Survival
that,
mode.
right, exactly. Let me just breathe. Here we are breathing. We're breathing. Did I breathe again? Let's breathe again. And then, that's how, like, but then after that, like the thing that actually really happened was that because I was able to slow down and because I had to clear out my schedule because, I wasn't going anywhere. And then it was going to be a week until I would go somewhere after I was done with that. I started saying, well, why am I doing all of these things exactly? And where am I wanting to go? And I started, going down to the sort of the next layer of, okay, what's the next thing? And you did all of these things that you were wondering if you could do, and you thought they would be fun, and all of it. They were fun. They're very enjoyable. But I'm like, are they still serving me? Right.
Right.
Been doing them maybe for a year, or maybe I've been doing them for a month or whatever, but I'm like, are they still serving me? So I really got to go through. And so I kept my calendar cleaned out, and I said, I have one main project that last week I finished a project. This week I'm going to finish a project. Next week I'm going to finish part 1 of the only main project I have left. And I'm not taking on anything else. It's like, I'm just going to do that. I'm like, how awesome that is when I can come back around and go, okay, that was fabulous. That was a great cycle of doing a lot of stuff, and now I want to do not a lot of stuff. And that
I love that.
It'll change again, right? Everything cycles through, but it is. I loved it too. It was really like that was what I needed. It's like COVID gave me that break.
And it's not that COVID's a great thing, but with all things, you can take what you take. And I very much agree with you. And I earlier said that our goal this summer and last summer was really just to embrace being with the kids and seeing the country. And I'm here to tell you, I thank COVID for that. The ability at that time that we couldn't do anything. We couldn't fulfill all the expectations.
Yeah.
And when things started coming back, I had to start saying, wow, I really like my time at home. I like being the master of my time. I like being able to say, it's beautiful, kids, let's go do this thing. And it's a different way to look at what you say yes to. And I those questions that you asked yourself of, does this still serve me, et cetera, that is, for me, so much of the work that I do with my clients.
Okay.
It's, you said yes to this, right? But do you still say yes? Is it still a full body yes? Or what's the part of no? Because it doesn't mean you can back out of it right away, right? But it means you can address those things that are getting in the way of it being a fulfilling experience. And we do so much that doesn't serve us. And when we look at our calendars and we can't say, this helps me this thing that's on there helps me get closer to my goals, then why is it on there?
Yeah, right.
And it can stay.
And our goals change, right? Like we think that we want to go this direction. We're like, okay, so these 3 things, they all are working in that direction. And then suddenly you're like, that actually, it's not a bad goal. It's just that it's a goal from me for from 6 months ago. Yeah. And I'm a different person now. I want something different now.
Good for her for having that goal. Thank you for getting me here. But upon further consideration with the information I have today, we're going to shift directions.
Yeah.
And that's so much what life is, right? Like, you're going to Jamaica, you're going to Bermuda. Both of them are great, but you've got to pick one. And you can change your mind in the middle. Yeah. Absolutely. But that means just be aware you've got to go all the way back or whatever the direction is. I don't really geographically know where they are, but they've got to be close if they're in the water. I'm revealing where I spent my mental energies in school here. Clearly not geography.
Okay, just a hint.
But it's, and having people in your space and having the wherewithal to say, where am I going? What am I doing? And why? Yeah. And wherever you're going is great, but be aware of it and be conscious of how it's serving you or how it's not. And then make decisions from that place.
Yeah, we tend to think that we can do so many things at once. But when we do so many things at once, it really, truly just lowers our vibration.
Yep.
Right? Because we just overdo it. We take on too many things. We overextend ourselves. And we might be doing it because, that's going to be fun and that's going to be fun. But when you have 20 fun things to do in your day, every day, you get tired. Right? Yep. And then you lose that inspiration that said all these things were fun. Right? It suddenly becomes...
Well, and then you show up and you're kind of half-assed.
Yes.
Right? Like you're not fully there. So like, what's the point? What are you doing? And it becomes a point in this adulting way of being where we kind of have to reverse engineer those things. And, like this busy wedding and fun summer I've had, I had to really work backwards and say, am I going to have enough energy when I get there?
Yeah.
And for one in particular, my girlfriend Chrissy just joined. Hi, Chrissy. I didn't know I was going to a concert with them. I didn't know when I was going to go because I didn't know when I'd have the energy.
Yeah.
And I had to leave that space and just say, I will be there on time, before the thing, but you may not see me the day before. Yeah. Fortunately, I woke up that day and had enough of what I needed, and I got down there a day early, but I couldn't say yes because I wasn't sure. I wasn't willing to risk having a great time at the Pink concert, and missing that excitement just to push myself to say I did. And I really, really respect that during this, recent unwellness of yours, that you took the time to reflect on the good things. When we leave jobs, when we are in sticky situations, to be able to step back and say, okay, what's the story I'm telling myself, and what story do I want to move forward with? Because they're different and they have a different interaction. So you could say I had COVID and life sucks and everything sucks.
Yeah.
Or you can say this sucks and I'm able to learn something different or experience something different. So kudos to you, girl.
I remember hearing this one thing that
yes, Chrissy, I hear you. She's given a high five to that to our statements there.
That's right. Absolutely. It reminds me of a thing that I think it was Abraham Hicks said once, that at a certain point, you stop looking for it to make the worst of things and you look to make the best of things. You stop trying to find fault with others. You stop trying to find fault with yourself. These sort of things. It's like you, at a certain point on this path, that's the direction that you're going, and that's it.
And what's so interesting is I've seen people literally like go, and then just turn the corner, like turn that corner on that direction and be like, you know what? I'm done seeing the dark side of life.
Yes.
I'm just done.
Yeah.
And that's so much the place where I meet a lot of my clients is I can't do this anymore. And I'm just ready to enjoy my life, and to just turn that corner. And I'm not saying it comes without effort and work, but making that turn is not hard, right? Like you got to put the steps in ahead of time. You got to get to the corner.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to really actually be in horrible misery to make that change. Like sometimes you're like, you have to have the family fall apart and the car be ruined and the house burned down and all, and you're just like, you know what? I'm still here. How can I enjoy this? All of these things that.
Yep. And I'm done.
Yes.
I'm just done with this being the story. And how do I want to write my story tomorrow? And what's the story, the legacy, if you will, that I want to leave here from my time on Earth.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah. So
okay.
Should we pull a card? What are you feeling today?
Is there? Trust your gut. I actually, for some reason, don't have any idea.
Oh, I see it.
So
we've got some people on.
If anybody gives us a number, then we could do a number.
Number 1 to 22, and we'll give them a minute. Tell us, what is this deck of cards again?
I'll show it to you. This is called the Builders of the Adytum. So Builders of the Adytum. Can you see that? Builders of the Adytum. Yes, it's so this is basically it's symbols of ancient mystic wisdom teachings.
Okay. So why don't you pull number 11 for us?
Okay. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's an ancient way that they used to teach, was using these cards as part of it. So it's really fun. All right, here we have today. We have a Hierophant.
Hierophant.
Okay. So the Hierophant is a part of you, right? It is your higher self. It is that part of you that connects to universal knowledge, that connects to all of the knowledge, all of the information in the universe, outside of time, outside of space, right? So when we are looking for direction, the thing to do is ask our Hierophant, because he knows, or she knows, what it knows, right? Mm-hmm. The Hierophant knows. In other words, you have a part of you that is your inner wisdom teacher, right? That knows when you hear something that it's true, right? You don't need science to connect with it. You know that what this person is saying, these are based on true principles. You know that this is the right thing. What did you say? Full body.
Full
Yes.
body. Yes.
You know that this is the right thing to do. It is a connecting with your own inner wisdom. That is what this card is about, is that your thoughts and your feelings, right? Mm-hmm. We think that the thoughts and our feelings are the way that we should guide ourselves through life. But this card is saying, no, your thoughts and your feelings are actually subject to the Hierophant. What's the way that I can put this? That your thoughts and your feelings, it's not that they're not important. It's that the way to go through life to keep yourself on balance. Like, one of the questions to always ask yourself when you're wondering if you're getting overwhelmed is, will I go off balance to have to do this? Mm-hmm. If I bring this one more thing into my life, will this push me off balance? How do you get the answer to that? You ask your Hierophant. So what you do is you ask your inner self. You get very calm, you get into a balanced place, and you say, okay, what's the right thing for me to do? And then you just wait. You ask and you wait for the answer, because the answer is going to come. It might come immediately. It might come in 3 days, but it's going to come.
How, in your experience, have you found that people hear it, right? Like, is it, because for me, I always say we've got to turn down the noise, right? We've got to quiet the noise. And that doesn't just mean like sit in meditation, right? Like, we're not talking about that, but it's filtering out the perspectives and the ego and the different things that influence our actions, thoughts, and behaviors and feelings, all the things. How do you help people know what they're hearing? Is that a fair question?
Yeah, I'm going to
make sense. Okay.
Give a couple of different, because you had a couple of different questions in there, so I'm going to start from here.
Thank you.
Sure. Which is, there's a story that one of my spiritual teachers tells that I love to tell too, because it's really clear, about this man who he was speaking with who was very heavy, and they were talking about exercise. And he asked this question. He said, do you ever get the urge to exercise? And this heavy man said, oh, yes, I do. But if I ignore it long enough, it goes away. So the Hierophant, quite honestly, is always sending us messages. The Hierophant is always saying, go left, go right, have broccoli. No, today it's donut day. Whatever it is always sending us messages. The question is, are we listening? Right? Because it's going to send them. The way that we can hear it, first of all, is that it's a really subtle feeling to know that something is a message from your Hierophant, right?
Right.
It is not you. First of all, you will never get something that's egotistical from your Hierophant. He is not going to say, go do this so you can be the king of the world. No, that is not what he doesn't care about. That. He cares about your heart's desire, that he cares that you follow your heart's desire, that you every moment of every day connect with your purpose and do things that are driven by your joy, as opposed to driven by trying to get something that you think is going to bring you joy, right?
Outward.
Exactly. Yes, going by an inner measure rather than an outer measure, right? So it won't ever put you in a place of throwing you off balance. It might put you in a place that you have a challenge, right? And the challenge might throw you off balance, but the voice itself is never going to put you in, an egotistical, off-balanced, too extreme emotion in one way or the other. Because once you really need to be in a balanced place to be able to feel it and to know it. Mm-hmm. And so if it pushes you off balance, you lose touch with that, right?
So the more overwhelmed we become, the more noise, the more chaos, the harder it is to hear our authenticity, like that voice inside that is truly ours, however we want to call it, right? Exactly. Divine, also source, spirit.
Exactly. If we're over busy or over emotional, it's we close it down, right? And we don't have, because it's such a fine sense, right? We can just close it down and ignore it. But the fact is, it's always there. And quite honestly, we always do, in one sense, know it's there, right? There's always still that nagging feeling of, that's not the right thing to do. When that's true.
And if you don't hear it during the day, from my experience, you'll hear it at night.
Oh, yes.
Those are the voices that'll come and wake you up and keep you up and nag, because we cannot ignore our purpose.
No.
Right? We can try.
No.
And then, like a soda bottle shaken, it's just going to pop one day, for better or worse sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think you're so right. And just like, what are you ignoring? What is the thing that you're pushing away that every time the thought comes, yeah, no, whether it's about weight, as in the example you shared,
Mm-hmm.
or your career or a relationship or a hobby you want to pursue, whatever the thing is, if it keeps knocking at the door, you don't have to do it, but open the door and figure out what it's showing up for. What is it trying to tell you? Because it'll either keep you inspired during the day or it'll keep you up at night if you keep it suffocated.
Yeah, if you're saying, I want to be inspired by it. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not,
so,
like sometimes for me in particular, like it's a relationship that you have with your higher or your inner wisdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
You start to learn how you speak to yourself, how you get these messages. For example, for me, very often I get them in the form of song lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know a lot of lyrics to songs. I'm always singing along with songs, and I'll be thinking about something that I'm trying to figure out. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? How I'd like to do that. And I don't figure it out anymore. I just feel what it would feel like to have the solution that I want. And then I just let things open up. I keep myself open to the ideas that are coming because the Hierophant is going to send you those ideas. Right.
Smart
and
lady.
And then I hear songs like I'll hear like words of a song and I'll be like or just like the tune. I'm like, oh, what is that song? What are those words? And I'll look it up and those words will be relevant exactly to what I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed to know right here. So that for me, like I sometimes on billboards, sometimes on signs, sometimes on sometimes from like somebody sitting at the table next to me, they say something. I'm like, oh, I needed that. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I think
that's
that whether we're speaking it out loud or just allowing the space in our heads, but the voice needs to be heard.
Yeah.
And when we do acknowledge it, when we put our truth into the world, the universe responds, or someone next to you responds, said, oh, I know what you're talking about, or it shows up in the mail, or
exactly.
Maybe Alexa's listening and she puts it in your Facebook feed. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's
not always
to be. We just have to pay attention.
Yeah.
And not in this like hyper vigilant, like creepy way.
No.
But just in are we filling ourselves with too much distraction?
Yeah. And the thing I was going to say is we don't listen to it for a lot of different reasons. One, because it's sometimes an unpopular stance or an unpopular thing to do, or people are going to think it's weird, or you're going to have to explain to people, or it's too hard, or it's too easy.
Confidence, right? Like, who am I to do this? Yeah. Like, who am I to own, to do, to be, to say? And
exactly.
Huge block.
Exactly. But it is always there. It is always speaking to you. And it really, the practice is coming back into balance so you can hear it and you can follow it, right? And to be able to do that, you need to be able to know what it feels like to be in balance. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people who don't know what that feels like, because your purpose, following your purpose in life, that's a feeling, right? That's how you know where to go. Following what your inner voice is trying to tell you, that's a feeling, right? So it's a practice in that sense.
Right. And if our nervous system or our parasympathetic nervous system and whatever all the little triggers are in there are constantly firing, if we're constantly pushing ourselves into overwhelm and, too busy and not enough downtime or whatever works, our bodies don't get to rest, right? Which means we don't have like a normal or an easy aligned way of being because we're not familiar with that.
Yeah.
So it's a process certainly to work down from that, but it starts by understanding that there is a voice worthy of listening to.
Yes.
And if we create the conditions in this physical world a little differently, if we create the conditions on our schedule and whatever else, we can do it. Yeah. It is very possible. And like I said, it takes a lot of steps to get to that corner to be able to turn it and be like, I'm done being bitter and pissed all the time.
Yes.
I'm done, with the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
I'm done feeling like a frazzled person who can't sleep at night. And what that means, at least for me, was I had to start speaking up about the things that weren't working. I had to start having hard conversations, what I thought were hard conversations, but now I realize were blessings and gifts.
Yeah.
I had to change a lot of parts, and I'm still me. I'm just a 10,000 times better version of myself because I'm actual.
Yeah.
I'm actually the thing.
Yeah.
So it's a process. It's little by little, but it starts by knowing that you're worth it and that you have something very special. And that is what I think the Hierophant, if I'm saying it correctly,
Yeah.
is saying is like, shh, right?
Yeah.
Slow down.
Yes.
We're all, I'm all about the pause. You're either go slowly or stop.
Yep, exactly. Yep,
Right.
yep.
And I think it's so true because that has given us both the blessing of being able to stop and say, wait, that doesn't feel right. I'm not feeling calm and balanced right now, but how do I get there? And we've got the tools in our toolkit to help us calm our nervous systems, create some perspective, and then go back to asking those questions of, does this still serve me?
Mm-hmm.
Is this in my, is this in my alignment? Is it getting me to my goals? What would happen if I just didn't go?
Yeah.
Or just didn't do it?
Yeah.
Or just said, not today, folks. And the reality, again, in my experience, is that the world doesn't stop. I had to be careful and mindful of what I said yes to and what I backed out of, or whatever the case may be. But it's doable because turning that corner is some of the most liberating, steps you can take. Truly, truly. And just being able to say, my authenticity is phenomenal. Let me go find it.
Yeah. Yes. It will lead me where I need to go. I just need to trust in that. I need to allow that, you know what?
Hello.
I was here to enjoy doing what I do,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was here to enjoy my purpose, right? The fact that I enjoy doing tarot is not a mistake, right? It's just, it is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. It's part of my purpose, right? And
it's 100%. And it will probably continue to evolve and change over time. I mean, I know when I was teaching, I was sure that that was my purpose. I knew that there was more for me, but in that time, it was the most purposeful thing I could do. And everything since and before in that same way, and that's why I laugh when people are like, when did you start coaching or how have you trained for this? And I said, well, I have these degrees and did this and did this and did this job and started this business and ran all this stuff, but all of them were 100% my purpose.
Yes.
All of them. And I will not stop here, right? This is something to grow me to the next thing. But right now, damn, it feels good.
Yeah. Exactly.
I like this purpose.
It's awesome.
And it feels
exactly
wonderful to find other people who have a similar purpose and want to share that with the world. Yeah. Because I don't have a gift of tarot. I can't hardly even say half the words that you say. But when we bring, the two experiences and the two gifts to the table, now we're saying basically the same things with new insights, new conversations, and hopefully those that are listening will get something from the narrative that we create. And I certainly grow and learn. And I want to, full disclosure, I'm pretty sure we pulled this card a couple months ago, but I'm quite sure it was a different conversation based on obviously the same foundation. But I'm going to have to go back and listen to that one to see what examples we came up with or whatever was similar or different.
Yeah, there's so much to each card, and we only have so much time.
Yeah.
But also, it's also part of just what are we talking about? Wherever we're talking about, we're going to address that and put the information about the card to that. The next time it could be something else that is about. But this is really about connecting to your own inner wisdom guide and allowing it to bring you where it needs to go. And it's something that you can do slowly. If you don't think you've ever done this before, if you've never been in touch with your feelings and being able to feel your way through a situation of what feels right and what doesn't feel right, start with small things. I always use this example. Start with, broccoli versus ice cream, because it's not going to be the same every day. And so ask yourself, what's the right thing for me to eat right now? What's the thing that's going to make me, really inspire me, feel energetic, whatever. And some days it will be broccoli and some days it will be ice cream. And so just that.
And both of them are phenomenal.
Yes.
Let's just say it again. Both broccoli and donuts.
They work.
And ice cream and all the things.
Exactly.
Well, and this is, this is where we have the same conversations in slightly different ways. I say a lot to the people I work with, like, okay, in this moment, what do you need right now? Just unfiltered, right? And it might need a nap. I might need this. Sometimes you might need the donut. Sometimes you might need the broccoli. But then it's also, but what do I also want, right? Like, let's not deny that part of ourselves. And then what do I actually have to do? right? And it just kind of reframes things to get people thinking of, okay, I have to run to the store and get these 15 things, but what I need right now is to take 3 deep breaths. What I need right now is to take the 30 seconds and reply to the text message that's been in my inbox all day nagging at me. And it just starts to chunk things a little bit differently. Because when you look at it like that, it's 30 seconds to do the deep breathing, 30 seconds to do the text messages. But again, what it does to your nervous system and all the systems in your body says, we're safe, we're okay, feel free to proceed, right?
Nice.
And then it lets you go in with a little bit of calm, and slowly everything kind of settles in, at least, in the experience that I've had and with those people I've worked with. So that might be my suggestion for people is, if you've got nothing else, give yourself the 3 deep breaths, 3 legitimate, 9 seconds each. Give yourself the time, and then see how you feel. Yeah. See if you can hear a little bit differently. Turn on the radio. What song is singing to you? And does that resonate with what's happening in your head? Yeah.
And remember that cycle through. So let's say you're sitting at the computer for an hour and you're at the end, you're like, oh my God, I got to get up from this computer. If you push through, you lower your energy, you lower your vibration. It makes it harder for you to hear. But that urge to get up from the computer is a message from your Hierophant. He's saying, take a break. This is the end of a cycle. But don't worry. You're going to come back when you go up and get the rest that you need, whether it's an actual nap or doing the laundry.
Just separation from the screen or water and fresh air, you name it.
Or just changing to a different thing on the screen. Some people are like, I got to go out now to do something else that is on it. It doesn't matter. It's not that you have to move in a different way. It's that you just recognize the end of the cycle, and then another one's going to come back, and you will come back to this thing. But if you follow what the Hierophant is saying, he will direct you into what one of my teachers calls rhythmic alternation, doing things in a cycle, right? You'll begin it, you'll have this middle, and then you'll get to this point where I am feeling like I'll have to be unbalanced to go any further.
That's right.
Then you say, okay, what's next? You take those 3 breaths and you just wait for the answer, because the answer is going to come when you ask yourself, okay, what do I do next? And sometimes, quite honestly, sometimes my body just starts doing it. I just get up, I'm all right, here we go.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what it is.
So
but
true though.
Right?
It's so true. And that's another application I use with the people I work with is, okay, in those 3 deep breaths, stop in the first cycle of breathing. Okay, what have I just done? What have I just completed?
Yeah, nice.
Where am I right now? And in the second breath, and then the third breath, what am I about to do? Yeah. And even and you can make them as long as you want, but if you're just doing box breathing, if you will, 9 or 12 seconds, but it just gives you that there's a before, a during, and an after always. And I have found I use a Pomodoro timer, so it's 25 minutes and then a 5-minute break, and I'm pretty good at it when I have the time to do it. I know that sounds funny, but if I have 2 or 3 hours of scheduled, office time, it's all about it. But it gives me that thing of, okay, I just accomplished. What have I just done? I just accomplished that whole thing I set out to do without getting distracted into my emails, without getting distracted over here. Now I get a break. And now I get to come back and I get to do it hardcore for 25 minutes again. But because of this practice of breathing and before, during, and after, I'm able to say, I know what I've done all day. I know I've been productive, not just busy. Yeah. And understanding that difference is very empowering. And it makes me just you want to get up and just go do the
next thing.
Watch me do this.
I know.
So it's really intentional, but it gives us that quiet of, I know what I'm doing, and I don't need all the noise to conflict and try to confuse me, because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I know that I have what it takes to get to the next thing too. So those are my thoughts today on the Hierophant.
That's beautiful. You always have fabulous thoughts. I love it.
Well, we bring really great ideas to the table, and I couldn't do it without you, and we couldn't do it without you.
Yeah, exactly.
As we point up to source.
Yeah.
And certainly without everyone who joined us, and certainly the number 11, Chrissy, you chose that today, but you chose that for each and every one of us who will enjoy this conversation. And for everyone else, we'll see you back here in 2 weeks on Tuesday at 1:15.
All right.
Until then, I'm Michaela at My Joy Coach.
And I'm
this is
Lisa at the Feel Better
at
Group.
the Feel Better Group. And we hope you make it a great day. Bye.
Bye.
And that's a wrap on another episode of And All the Things. If you enjoyed today's show, please like and follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. If you really liked it, please go ahead and rate it. Then think about who in your life might also need to hear it and any of the other episodes we have shared. Then share it with them. When you find something meaningful, something valuable, you've got to share it and pay it forward to those you care for. Thanks for joining us, and follow along on Instagram at MyJoyCoach to see more of me, your host, Michaela Burdyshaw. And as always, make it a great day.